Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky, and I am a living Christ. I've been speaking to you now for 25 years and writing articles on the internet. I've been speaking about the truth of who you are. I know that's the question that is dangled before you by those who control you, the philosophers who speak about who are you? Who am I? What is my purpose here on earth? Do you understand? Your purpose here is to align yourself with truth. For you see, truth is the at-one-ment that exists in the subconscious mind, a mind of creation, the mind of God, the mind of oneness, non-duality. We all have that subconscious mind, but we pay little attention to it. Why? Because we focus our attention on the dualistic intellect, the programmable, computer-like mind, the conscious mind, that takes over the functions of a technical society, a civilized society. You see, that is what is considered normal by most of you. And you don't understand that you have been seduced away from your wholeness, your completeness, your God-like quality of being the author of your own lives, the creator of your own quality of life. And therefore, you're responsible for your life. Most of you have relinquished that responsibility to other people to do your thinking for you. It's called civilized. It's called a republic. It's called many things. Those are words. When you are caused to leave the wholeness of energy and what is truth, you are forced into a hellish environment of illusion based in words, based in concepts, ideas that are dead. Why are they dead? Because they exist only in the after moment of the concept of time. The only realization of truth is now, this moment. And that moment is gone. When that moment is gone, you're living in your mind, in the past, in the dead past. And you are the living dead. That's who you identify with. You identify with your own ideas of who you are. But your idea of who you are is not who you are. It's as simple as that. You are infinite. You, I'm speaking to all of you now in this very moment of eternity. You are God's. You are the maker of your life. And no one is responsible for the quality of your life other than you. Yet that is not how you live. You have been trained to live in your conscious intellect. That intellect must have been formed by schools, teachers, with an agenda into keeping you focused upon the past, dead concepts, and worshiping those concepts as if they were the living truth. The word God, for example, is not God. The energy of God that is found in the subconscious mind, that's God. That's non-dualistic. There's no separation there. There's no division. Division occurs only in duality. And duality is fictional. It's a creation of an idea, an illusory idea. It has no life to it. It has a energy, a fragmented, limited energy of a fictional universe created by thought. Anything that is created by thought is indeed an illusion. There can be no question about that. Now, when you act upon those illusory thoughts, what do you create? You create a fictional, limited, illusory reality. That's civilized society. That's what hell is all about. You have been so intimidated by the educational, government authorities, schools, the high schools, the colleges, the universities, you see. They create a fictional world, and you become so acclimated to that fictional world that the truth of what is forfeited in lieu of living an illusion. That illusion is indicative of a limited, partial reality, not a whole reality. Wholeness is eternity. You are, in fact, eternal beings. You are beyond time and space, but you have been trained, educated out of that understanding, that holistic understanding, and therefore you have been transformed into a partial, intellectual thinking slave, a slave to words, a slave to concepts, a slave to superstitions. That's what you identify with. These are all nothing more than images of hell that dominate your consciousness, your limited, intellectual consciousness. You create the civilized world. You understand? The primitives, the so-called primitives that you intellectuals call, they lived in truth. They lived in simplicity. And you call them ignorant. Those people live their lives out. Certainly, in an intellectual sense, they are limited because of the limits that are placed upon an infinite energy that the primitives were capable of tapping into. Once you begin to create rules, regulation, laws, you limit that consciousness and you demand that all people become subject to that limited consciousness. That's civilized society. That's the hell that you have created for yourself. And you can't deny that such limited civilized society is based in dualism, division, conceptual thinking and believing those thoughts to be truth. Truth is whole. The thought of truth is whole, not whole. Absolutely, that could be sensed by each and every one of you at the core of your being. See, most of you are angry and frustrated and resentful of this simple man of truth because he speaks the truth to you. And you're not ready to hear the truth. You have accepted the pill of indoctrination all of your lives so that you have been living an illusion and you worship that illusion as the truth. That is your sin. That is your contradiction in essence. That's what sin is. It's not some superstitious thing that curses you by religious teachers. You see, that's the secret of satanic indoctrination. They create illusions within the state of illusion. You have illusions within illusions within illusions. And if you're not confused at the end of your day in living just 24 hours in that kind of contradictory behavior, let's see, you are so confused, so depressed, so angry, so frustrated, that you have lost your balance. You see, one must be balanced in order to live in truth. Understand? It's the balance, the infinitesimal balance of using your holistic right brain, the subconscious mind, in balance with your satanically ruled left brain, literal, image creating, illusory mind that is only used in order to communicate with one another by using words, as I am doing with you now, and for resolving mechanical, technical, problem solving of events that are conjured up by the intellect itself, the satanic intellect. You see, if you are in duality, where you have the contradiction of the you and the not you, which you project to be your world, you are in a state of confusion. You are in a state of violent opposition within and without. You're at war with yourself. You must bring all contradictions to a state of illusory solution. I say illusory solution because you're still in your conscious intellect, your satanically ruled conscious intellect. You must step out of that arena of duality. You must stop the noise of the indoctrinated ideas that you hold to be true within yourself through your satanic conditioning. Now, I am using words here that are insulting. They're held by you as being insulting. They're saying, this man's insulting my intelligence. Your intelligence is in fact ignorance, because everything you do is backward. Look at the world that you're living in. Look at the wars, the killing, the crime, the killing of one through pollution of food, of water, of air, all of the things that are necessary to continue life. They're being destroyed. And who are they being destroyed by? The so-called intelligentsia that you grant to them. Those people are no different than you. They're just indoctrinated more in a satanic, intellectual manner. These are the educators, the scientists, the lawyers, the judges, the police. They feed a satanic system of tyranny. No one can deny the tyranny of war, the tyranny of crime, of politics, of religion, of banks, of corporations. No one can deny that that is the world that we live in. And we're not happy with it. You complain a lot. You create a government that promises you that they will solve your problems for you. Because you have relinquished your own responsibility for your life, you pay them dearly with your life force, which is converted into money. And you give them that money freely of your own consent because you live in fear. The fear that is perpetuated by the illusions that are conditioned into you. It's time to end all of that. I have been writing and speaking on the internet for 25 years. I'm 81 years old. I'm a retired, honorably retired police sergeant. I was forced into retirement. That was my introduction to the corruption of government. Since that time, I have been under attack by government. And I have been seeking an FBI investigation from various presidential operations. Several presidents, 3, as a matter of fact, 3 administrations, have all refused to investigate the crimes that have been committed against this police sergeant. One who knows how to put a case together. One who's a professional. He's a court officer who is on the inside of the operations of the criminal system. Who knows what energy is being faced by the average man who is completely ignorant of what's going on, but is at the mercy of those who train him to believe in certain things as being true. Well, what you know about society, about civilized society, is an illusion. And that's your problem. You're bass backward to begin with. You don't have a clue what life is all about. And that's your purpose, of course, for being here on this earth. To find out who you are, what you are, and your true relationship with all. So, there's a point to all this, but it's a spiritual point that must be understood. And if you cannot reach that level of spirituality, you are hopelessly ignorant. and therefore relegated to be a slave for the time that you cannot act, but act you must. Now, I have the solution. I know that sounds egotistical to intellectuals, but it's not, because I'm speaking from the non-dualistic realm of consciousness. The non-dualistic subconscious mind, that is the mind of the Creator, the mind of you when you create the quality of your life. I say to you that you're responsible for your life and no one else. And you will argue with me, satanically, dualistically argue with me, and claim that it is somebody else who is causing you harm, and you're just reacting to it. You're reacting to your own thoughts. You've created those thoughts, and you're arguing with those thoughts. Because those thoughts project your consciousness into your world, and you can only project your own beliefs. So if you're in the realm of belief, you're living in hell. Does that not answer all that you know? Is that not all you are capable of doing, of reaching that limitation of consciousness that is intellectual, and therefore being unable to resolve your problem? So you cave in. You abide by the promises, the empty promises, of politicians, of world leaders, of those who control the money, those who finance the wars, both sides. You'll find that that is the case. Now, when one can finance both sides of a conflict, is there a loss to that individual or that entity? It's impossible. They win because they are in the state of oneness, creating an illusory world. That's satanic. That's the fallen Satan, fallen from the realm of the subconscious mind to take power, to be the ultimate authority in a world of illusion. Now, how do you stop that from happening? By fighting? By going to war? By killing each other? Do you not see that you only destroy yourself and others who think like you? Who are the survivors? Those who finance both sides of the war. They don't get their hands dirty. They find the youth, those who have not yet learned what life is all about, and give up their lives on the battlefield. While they profit, they are behind the scenes profiting from selling equipment. Organizational institutions are financed by them. They create the armies, the military. Understand? They create the institutions, the religions. All of these things require your energy, your money. Now, I have been talking about this for 2 decades now. The solution to war, the solution to tyranny, is not resist, not resisting it. You cannot resist evil without strengthening it, because it's an illusion, your projected illusion. You destroy the illusion of war, of crime, of tyranny, merely by boycotting it, withdrawing your support, your financial support. Do not allow your money, that which you make the symbol of your energy, of your wealth-producing efforts, your work ethic. You prevent that money from reaching these institutions, these satanic institutions, which must have your energy, must have your money for them to do what they do. Take that money away from them, and they die. That's a fact. That's a truth. That cannot be debated. All of these institutions require your money in order to perpetuate hell on earth. And you are the only producers of such wealth. You, the living man and woman. You see, I'm not talking about the dead person that is created by government, a fictional institution, who must create a fictional person in order to have power over them. And you, the living man and woman, you must consent to be that person. When you do that, you have contracted your life away with Satan, and you become the living dead. And you're treated as such. You're treated as property, as less than human. You've changed your status. You are no longer the living man and woman, the creator of government. You are the living dead person, the creator of government, into a fiction. That fiction's called a citizen. And you, by your own consent, you must contract with Satan, satanic government, satanic religions, to be that living dead person, believer. Understand? Only by boycott shall all of these satanic institutions come to an end. That's not an empty promise. That's a reality. That's truth. But it takes action, individual action on your part, not groupthink. Groupthink relegates you to being a blind believer and therefore controllable. It's a satanic state of mind. You must act as a living man, as a living woman, and be the creator of all things in this world of illusion, to be out of it. I am such a man. I am in this world, and I am communicating with you on a satanic level by using words but you misunderstand those words because you have a different definition. Do you understand? What I say to you is not what is heard by you, and therefore you argue. You refuse to accept the spirit of the word, which is holistic, which is truth. And you focus your attention on the letter of the word, the peripheral meanings, definitions that are not whole, and because they are not whole, they cannot be truth. That is the deception of worshiping false images. And that was where most of you are found, in the depths of the hell of your own making, by your beliefs and definitions and ideas. Boycott is the only solution, the only solution. How do you accomplish that? Change your withholding agreement, a contract, with your employer, who must create contracts with the state, with the institutions of government, to send that money to them, to fuel the actions of a country, which is no longer a country, it's a corporation. You'll find that this government that you're now living under is not what you think it is. It is a corporation, and you've been misled, purposely misled. Well, you see, because it is a corporation, it's a fictional idea, which is not holistic. It is not, cannot be true. And that which is not true can be eliminated because it has a beginning and it has an end. Anything that is temporary in nature is an illusion. So it's time now to end the illusion of corporate governance. Withdraw your money so that you get a full day's pay for a full day's work. No middleman. Understand? You work for your employer, there's duality. If you have an agreement with your employer, that's the duality of two. Somehow or another, a third-party intervener, the government, enters into the equation, and it asserts more power than does your employer or you, the employee, the slave. And they must have your consent to do that. And when you give that consent, you've sold your soul, and you have become a slave. What you have done in error, in ignorance, in limitation, you can undo. You can end it. Stop. Withdraw your support. Get a full day's pay for a full day's work, and then you fund the government that you want. Start from scratch. Throw the rascals, the corrupt rascals, out of office. And you've, in one swatch, solved incompetency, corruption, criminality amongst governments, and the corporations that support it. You put an end to war because they do it for the profit. The life energy that you voluntarily give to them will withdraw that energy. And they can't perform, they can't continue. That's the truth. That's non-dualistic. That's a fact. That is the solution to hell. Boycott government, boycott religion, boycott all institutions that are limited and intellectual in nature, and you no longer are living in hell. You no longer are a slave. You have created a new world. That's heaven on earth. That's the second coming of Christ consciousness. And I, this living Christ, am bringing it to rule. Forget all the illusions of power, of status, of wealth that has been trained into you in belief, because you are merely a slave. You see yourself to be at the low end of the totem pole. Well, be a slave no longer. Stop supporting government. And it will die. It will die. It cannot continue. Oh, they'll throw up a lot of threats. But what are they doing now? They're killing you anyway, aren't they? With their population control, with their poisoning of the airs and the waters and the food chain. They're doing it to you anyway. Take away your support of their homicidal policies that are killing you so many different ways, and you accept it. You don't want to remain that dumb, do you? I'm calling for a boycott. Let's do it. Let's act individually. Change your withholding with your employer and watch how the government cannot function without that money. That's the solution. You don't have to kill each other or be killed yourself. Do it the peaceful way. Boycott. You have a right to withdraw that which is yours anytime, because you are living out of time. If you're living in time, you feel that it's impossible because your limitations keep you a slave. Stop the intellect. And when you do that, you enter into the eternal, subconscious, the divine mind, the infinite mind. That's where you find truth. That's where you find love. That's where you find Christ consciousness. Let's do it.